Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Jenna. We are live for another live stream. Back here working on the Sparky engine. So, don't know what we did last time. Oh, first of all, I need to pull, because I did a few things at work. So, essentially what I did off stream between yesterday's stream and today's stream, not much really. I embedded the font is essentially all I did. So this Source Sans Pro font that we were using, I just embedded that into the source code so that it gets embedded into the exe, or the lib, which will get embedded into the exe, so that we have like a default font in case we can't like load resources or something like that. It's just easier, of course, to have a default font for the engine that doesn't require anything except for the engine, because it's actually embedded into the engine. So we need to pull that. So let me just pull real quick. I shouldn't have any changes locally here because I did commit yesterday. So we'll pull, it should merge, hopefully well. And it should be the best, maybe. Come on. Please don't take forever. Okay, cool. So if we refresh this, cool. So this looks different now. We've got this embedded folder, and then I'll quickly go through how this works for those of you watching. We have an embedded header file, which basically just has all the stuff that we embed. So for example, here we've got, we'll usually have a byte array along with default fonts, and the byte array is just, of course, an unsigned char. So we've got this. So we'll always have like a byte array, and then of course we need to have the size of the byte array as well. So you can see this stuff isn't equal to anything because we don't want to do that in the header file, because otherwise including large amounts of data is always a bad idea. So we've got embedded.cpp, which actually has all the data. So going through, it's in the internal namespace, which means that anything in the internal namespace should never be basically accessible in the API. Okay, this should never ever be used. So if you see something in the internal namespace, you shouldn't be using this in game side code ever. Okay, I'll probably move a few more things into the internal namespace, but for now, it's here. So you should never use this, okay? Because this stuff is basically just for the engine, and if you want to load a font, of course, you can do something else. This is just embedded. So to make things a bit easier, and so that we don't have like 32,000 lines of just binary here, I've just basically put it into its own file, which is a .embed file. Not that it matters what the extension is, but you can see under files, we've got Source Sans Pro Lite embed, and in there we have this. So all we have is binary data, which has a 0x at the front and a comma at the end, and that's it. And you can see that it's sorted into rows of 8 bytes, okay? And you can see it's incredibly, there's a lot of data here, okay? Here's the end. And it's 36,000 lines of, so 36,000 times 8 bytes is essentially how many bytes we're looking at. Okay, so that's it, and you can see, yeah, it's quite big. So that's why I put it out into its own file, so that we don't have to deal with this much if we're just trying to scroll to the actual data here. So I don't know why we've got a semicolon here. We can get rid of that. Yeah, that's fine. IntelliSense is a bit meh sometimes. We've also got, okay, so because of the way this works, you can see we've got a pointer to this, okay? The reason I've set that up as well is because we don't want this to be dynamically allocated, of course, in memory. We rather want this to be just basically be in the lib or the exe eventually, right? So this will just be a bunch of data in the exe. It won't actually dynamically get loaded into memory until we actually load the font. So that's very important as well. It's basically, might as well be on disk if we do it this way, is what I'm saying. This is just to set up so that we can use it properly. So you can see that's what we'll see in here. That's the extern. And finally, the size is just size off. Okay, and that's it. So that should work fine. So now in window, we just have, so we can get rid of this to-do now because it's done. But we should have this situation going on where we just load the default font and the default font size, and that's it. And then we've got the default size of the font here, which is 32. Okay, but that's the idea, and that's it. So it's really easy to embed resources. And we shouldn't go too crazy with this because this does, of course, increase the size of the lib. I actually didn't commit binaries here, so let me just build this. This does, of course, increase the size of the file dramatically. In this case, probably by about a megabyte. So you shouldn't go too crazy with this. But let's just see how big it is now. This is in release. Good. So the lib is like 22. That's way too big. I don't know why it's 22 meg. That's a bit crazy. But basically, when it links into Sandbox, let's build Sandbox as well. 22 meg. Something's very wrong there. Okay, so it's about 1 megabyte. That's more or less correct. So you can see that when it links into Sparky, it's about a megabyte. I don't know. This probably has a bunch of debug symbols and whatnot, but it is still generally much larger than I would like. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. Link. Yeah, not sure. But you can see when it gets finally linked and whatnot, it is that's fine. It's pretty it's about a megabyte now. Okay, so it's gone up quite a bit. Cool. That's the idea. So today we're going to do a few things. We're going to finish off masking. So we're not going to do too much today. This is going to be a short live stream because I haven't had dinner yet and it's like 9:15. I thought I'd do the live stream first and then have dinner instead of the other way around, just because I did schedule this for 8:30, so I didn't want to be too late. But basically what we've got going on here right now is we have a mask that we set up, and the mask is just an ordinary texture, you can see here, and this is literally the code, right? We loaded, you can see everything's masked. So this overlay here is a mask. If I just unset that like that real quick, you can see that we lose it. I might be setting it again here. I'm not. Okay. Yeah, so we should also handle if we have no mask. But the point is, if I do that, yeah, we won't get a mask. Which is cool. So all the mask does, in terms of the fragment shader, which we will change in a minute, or the vertex, well, yeah, in the fragment shader, is we just multiply our current color with the mask color. So it's like a multiply. Okay, that's it. Really easy stuff. And then this is here optionally if you want to invert your mask, which I probably will disable anyway because you shouldn't. What was I saying? You shouldn't. Oh wait, hang on. That's fine. You shouldn't. There'll be like a Sparky convention, which is this. Use this, and then that's it. If you want to, whatchamacallit? If you want to have some other convention for what's what and what gets masked, you can just write your own shader, and that's pretty much it. So it's not really a big deal in terms of this. If you don't like the convention, then that's fine. You can change it obviously by writing your own shader, so it's fine. Don't worry too much about that. Because in terms of the engine API support, you shouldn't actually need to touch the engine in order to change it a bit. Okay, cool. So this is pretty much this is pretty good, except for a few reasons. First of all, the big thing that I don't like is a few of these things. First of all, like this mask QV is kind of fine, but we're going to move this CPU into the CPU side. Right now, obviously, this is doing in shader, so it's GPU side. But we're going to move it into the CPU side for a few reasons. But essentially, what we should do is a few things. The way that I'm going to set this up, eventually, I do want. See, there are a few problems with this that I just don't like. First of all, usually I don't know what's going on. Usually I would like a mask to be a renderable, okay? Because that makes sense. Like you can make a sprite that is a mask, right? And the sprite texture, because that way you can control it as if it were any other renderable, and everything will be fine, and it'll just be the best, and well, it'll work, right? But the problem with a few of these things that we have is that we have no kind of transformation matrix here. we currently have a position, and that's it. Okay, so there's no way to actually rotate sprites, right? The only way you can rotate sprites, I shouldn't say that there's, like, the engine does support that, but just not from the sprite interface. You have to create a group with that one sprite. If you want to rotate one sprite, you create a group, you add the sprite to the group, and then you essentially you can get the transform ref, and apparently, yeah, or you can create it with a transform, whatever. You can set it up that way, basically, is what I'm saying. So you can do something like that, and that will work currently. So I'm a little kind of not so happy with all of that because of the way this works, and we could fix this up a little bit. Like, what we could do technically is we could have a position, a size, a position, a scale, and a rotation in sprite or in renderable 2D, right? We could do something like that, and then we could have a get matrix method, which would return a matrix constructed from as the result, basically, of a position, of a rotation, and of a scale. Fortunately, that's not going to be very fast. Which is why there's a few kind of quirks with this. Yeah, so that's just kind of food for thought here. So I'm really not sure how we should do this, because there are multiple ways to do this, and they're all kind of correct. The third option would be making a mask class, and I played around with this today as well. Making a mask class which just has a texture and a transform, and basically saying that no, you're not a renderable. Because honestly, having it as a renderable, there are just certain things that we don't need. So like UV, we don't need. Color, we don't need. Size, we don't need. Right? But what we do need instead is essentially a position, or like a transform and a texture, and that's it. So it's just a bit weird to have it as I feel, as a thing, because yeah, like, we won't have most of this stuff. Set UV default, like, all of this stuff is just a bit, yeah. Okay, I feel for now we're going to create this as until I can think this through, because I don't want to waste too much time, I'm going to just make a mask struct, essentially. So and then we'll sort this out eventually, but just for now I can't really decide, so I don't want to waste time. So we'll get this stuff done, and then we will decide later on. So struct mask. So this is just going to be pretty public. It's just going to be a struct kind of thing anyway. So public, structs are public by default. So we can have a few things here that I would like to have. We definitely need to have a texture, so let's include that as well. I need to refactor a lot of this stuff into the new convention and whatnot. I might do that sometime when I just have a bunch of time. I'm going on holiday soon, so I might do that on the plane or something. Something exciting like that. Airborne programming, am I right? Okay, so we'll have a texture, and we'll have a let's see, we'll just have a transform. We'll make it a nice constructor for this, because if we can initialize it without a constructor pretty easily, but the reason I'm doing this is because you might not want to transform at all. So I'll make the transform pretty optional. So we'll just say const maths mat4 transform equals maths mat4 identity. So we've got a default there, pretty sensible. We will set texture to texture, transform to transform. The reason I'm not having these as M underscores because they're public. And we can just have an empty kind of thing here as well. Okay, so that's our mask essentially. There's not too much that's complicated here whatsoever. Back in our renderer, we're going to do a few things. So set mask now is obviously going to take in a mask instead. Which we'll need to import. I'm not sure if it'll be const though, because we'll never be modifying it, to be honest, so we'll keep it as const. And then batch renderer, we'll have to have a few things applied as well. So this is where the magic happens, magic-ish. So basically what we want to do is so set mask does its job. I'm not going to mess with that, to be honest. We've got a mask. Yeah, we could do this at submit. We don't have to do this. We can do this at begin. Let's see here. There's a few ways we could do this. So it's fair to assume that, yeah, the other thing that's important is that masks will probably apply between submit calls. Which means that we can actually end up with a single draw call without flushing, but it uses variable masks, kind of like we have here. So I think the most sensible thing to do is going to be the following. Let's work out our masks. So first of all, if mask doesn't equal null pointer. So if a mask is null, then we've got a few issues going on. Well, namely, we just don't have a mask, okay? So this is how this is going to work. Mass map for mask transform. So we'll set that equal to identity. If it's not null, we will set it equal to, I actually don't have a function for this, unfortunately. But what we need to do is have a static version of this. So static map that returns a new one, because invert will invert the current matrix in place. We want to invert a, I don't know why I put it there. Actually, yeah. We want to invert a new one. So what we'll do is pop this fella here. I don't know what. Okay. We'll have a map for results. We don't. We'll, yeah. And essentially, results. We will have. Yeah, so result will equal matrix, which will make a copy of it, and then we'll return we'll invert it and return it. Okay, so there we go. So that's our static invert function, which we can now use in here. So maths mat for invert. I don't understand why we should really just have a using namespace maths, because we write maths a lot of times. Like, look at all this. Yeah. Just save a few things here. So invert masks transform. Okay, so we get a mask transform here that's proper. We could also turn this into something else, but in fact, it might actually be a bit better. So we'll say it's just that no, we do have more to do. So here's what we'll do instead. We're going to basically add two things into here. Okay, so let's go into our renderer, or renderable, I should say. Vertex data. Two things are getting added here. Something called an MUV, which is a mask UV, I'll actually just make it a bit more descriptive. And something called an MID, which is a mask ID. That's probably a bit overkill. Mid, tid. I don't know, maybe I should just call this a MUV. Not a MAV. MUV, mid. Some of this stuff is a bit cryptic though. We'll call it properly. It's just I didn't call this stuff properly, so I don't know. I don't know. What should we do? I think I'll leave this as a mid, but call that a mask UV. How about that? Compromising. We need to go back here and change a few things. So, yep, and yep. So we now have a mid. We now have a mask UV, which unfortunately does ruin everything here. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so yeah, we're taking up some more of our attributes. Okay, we've normally got about 16, so this will be fine. Let's enable them. What was this? Mid. Oh, come on. And mask UV. Okay, so more of this stuff. Mid is going to be the same here. Let's just make sure we don't forget this and this and that. Brilliant. Okay, cool. That should be done. So now all we have to do is apply it here. So if mask doesn't equal null pointer, here is where the good stuff begins. So we basically are going to duplicate what we've got here, but for the other things. So we've got texture slots, right? So what we'll also have is mask texture slots. And this is going to happen very similarly, but we'll only have a few, so we won't have as many. So this is like massive like thing here, right? We're not going to go that far, but we will say so there's a few things actually. So firstly, else we know that let's make a float mid. It'll be 0 actually by default, so we don't need to really clean that up. Tid. So yeah, the mask is set up very differently. So texture slot, we'll have a mask slot that'll just basically equal 0. So if it is not a null pointer, then we need to basically check out if it's already in there. So if we'll steal this, and what do we have? So full found equals false if I equals mask texture, get ID, found equals true. Yeah. So found equals true. I don't even know if we need that. We'll see. I'm just kind of copying. Let's not do that. So I plus 1. Because 0 just means no, right? So what do we use found for here? For flushing. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. So if... No, we do need that. Because if found is false, we need to... push back the... this fella. Which I definitely should... where are we? So... show... Okay. What was it here? It was a GLE uint. So yeah, we'll kind of do this. So mid equals, just so we don't have to access it too many times. I'm just trying to be pretty optimizable cherno. Yeah. And we've done that. Oh, ms will also equal that, won't it? Yep. Okay. Is the mic volume low? I can turn it up. You guys should have said something. Let me turn it up to like 140. This should be a lot louder, so let me know if this is better. Is this too high? Too low? Too high? Who knows? Well, you guys probably know. Is it good now? Testing 1, 2, 3. A lot of people saying RIP is. I'll turn it down a little. How's this? I don't know what this sounds like, so you guys are gonna have to be good. Okay. People are saying it's good. Just turn it down if it's too loud now. I don't know. Okay, so this is good. It should line up. You can see it does it much the same way. By default it's that though. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So what we're gonna do is set the mid everywhere to be the mask slot. Okay, so we've done that, which is good. And then over here, and we have to kind of set it up for font as well, unfortunately, but it's okay. Yeah, some of this is a bit lol. And then we have to set up the UVs. So the UV is going to be this. We take the current transform, which is a vec3. So vec3 vertex equals that, right? And we know that that's the case. And we basically do that for each thing. So let's bring it out. Okay. The reason I'm bringing it out is so that we don't have to calculate it again, because what we're going to do is... So I am checking if the mask is set by the null pointer thing. But we need to set the UVs. So the UV is very basic. This is going to make no sense for a lot of you guys. It's not the easiest thing to understand, but basically we take the transform of the mask and we multiply it with the vertex. Okay, and that gives us the mask's UV. Because, oh no, sorry, I'm actually wrong, because we need the inverse of that. Didn't I do that? No, I didn't. I did. Mask transform. Mask transform is what I wanted. Yeah, I thought I did it. So this is mask transform, which is the inverse of the mask. So this will basically almost revert it back into a 0 to 1 kind of thing. So I know it probably makes very little sense, but I'll try and explain it a bit more. I might make a video about this or something, because I don't want to spend too much time on this. Basically, is what I'm saying. Okay, this is also having to change. So we don't actually have, so it's kind of turning into this now, but it doesn't, like, we'll have to kind of decide what's going on here, because it's a little bit different, and I don't want to have too many masks. The other thing is, we can easily just, we can kind of decide what mask is what, so we don't actually have to have, so a mask could be any texture, right? So we don't actually have to have a dedicated, this is a texture thing, kind of like what I did here where I made it number 31. We don't need that anymore at all. So there's a few things that is good about this setup. First of all, let's add our new stuff in. So this goes to 3, 4, 5. So this is now mid. This is now a mask UV. And that's all good. So we need to add that into our out data and our in data. So yoink to the fragment shader. And then this as well. Oops. Not looking at my keyboard. We can get rid of mask UV, which is what we had there. We can set this back to 32. We can set the mask, get rid of the mask texture. Okay, this mask UV thing now, instead of this calculation that we had going on in the vertex shader, is now just mask UV, okay, which is our attribute, which is up here. Mid is another thing that we need to set. So let's yoink that. We'll set it up here. We'll do the stuff pretty much in order. Best way to do it. Excuse me. Mic volume is perfect now. Wonderful. Okay, so we've done that. Yeah. Okay, so we kind of have to do a similar thing here. If FSN MID is greater, means that we have a mid to look at. So the mid, okay, is going to be, again, this is pretty much a mirror of this stuff. So we'll look at the textures mid, and we'll, instead of using, of course, UV, and text color is obviously going to become mask color. So the default mask color, okay, is going to be 1. Because that means that no change will be happening. It's multiplying something with 1, right? Which gives you whatever, x times 1 is x. So vec for 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, I'll make it probably happy by putting a 0.0 here. Making sure that floats. I'm pretty sure you can just do this though, can't you? And I'll just be like, yep, yeah, all good in the hood. I'll write it like this though to make it a bit more obvious. Okay. So mask color is going to equal none of this FSN color stuff. It's just going to be texture at textures mid, and then of course using mask UV. There's our mask. Set up pretty well. It's a bit hard to read this, so there might be a few errors because there's, you know, first of all it's all one color, and second of all there's a lot of quotes and /n's everywhere. But this mask color is gone now. That's what we replaced it with, and this remains exactly the same. Cool. So, so right now, I think I'm going to probably test this out in a minute. So yeah, that's pretty good. I'm actually quite happy with that. We have to set up our texture a bit properly, but more properly though. I'm thinking we might actually just avoid mask slots altogether. Yeah. I think we can do that. Just not sure if we really need it. Because we can just pop this into a texture. Let's see what this does exactly. This could definitely be a function, I think. We'll make this like an inline. Maybe not inline. Hell. Yeah. I feel like making this just a function because we're about to use it twice. So we give it, let's see what we input. We input TID, we look for it, and we return it. Yeah, we'll make this a function. And we'll get rid of this. I might be wrong in a minute. We'll see. Well, we'll try and get rid of it and see what happens. So void submit texture. And this will be private though. Submit texture will take in, this will be float. It will take in a texture ID. We will probably have this in terms of implementation. We're not going to have it at the end. We'll have it right after init. Yeah, so right before begin. Okay, so out goes. The reason I'm doing this is because A, we've got the exact same code here. okay? And also, it's becoming a little silly having, and we're about to use it for textures, so we're definitely going to do this. So, texture ID. So this is our kind of result, right? Just refactor this into result real quick. If texture ID is greater than 0, is that what we want? It's TID. Yeah, we do. We can do this check outside. I mean, if we're submitting a texture, I'm just thinking about a better way to do this, more API wise. Yeah, this will probably be a bit better. So const texture. So we'll ignore this stuff here, because we can do that check outside. I'm making this a touch more generic, touch more universal. So TID though, GL uint, I believe. I'll just call it ID. What does this return? Const unsigned int. Oh wow, not even GL uint. Whatever. That's a bit weird though. I guess this is implementation specific. Yeah. I'll just make it a uint. And we'll change that later as well. So it is a uint anyway. TID is ID. Result is 0.0. Which is fine, that's actually correct. This becomes ID. Return the result. Yeah. So we've got this whole flushing thing. I guess that's fine. I mean, it'll be a bit weird with masking though, so we should probably figure this out for masking. It might be fine. Not sure. We'll see. This stuff is pretty good. We can probably avoid this by just adding 1.0. Yeah, I think that'll work. So now what we have to do, we've cut this now. So, what do we need exactly? TS. So the cool thing is we don't need this anymore either. Do we? We were checking if TID was greater than 0, I think. Right? Yeah, well, it did say TID greater than 0, right? Let me just quickly diff it. TID, yeah. So we didn't need it. Okay, so float TS equals 0 if TID greater than 0. TS equals submit texture renderable dot, oh great, get texture. I'm not sure why that's not a thing. So we've got texture ID for some reason, but no get texture. Okay. Great. So that's done. Yeah, and the other cool thing is this mid situation, which we'll keep. We'll keep it away because it's, yeah, is going to basically have the exact same thing applied. So instead of this whole thing, the only problem is we do need to do that if mask doesn't equal null pointer. So that's the equivalent of TID greater than 0, right? We set the mask transform and then we just say ms equals submit texture and mask.texture, which should set it up properly, and then we don't need this at all. Done. Okay, cool. I think that will work. Let's build this. I actually have no idea what will happen. Hoping it'll work. Alright, what do we got? Can I convert argument 1 from const texture to const mask? Yes, so this takes in a mask now. What's this in layer? Yeah, that was the one thing I forgot about. Okay, let's just run it and see what happens. Probably crash, but we'll see. Okay. Find uniform. Yeah. Okay. So shader factory. Something's wrong with our shader that made it fail to compile. Fortunately, I missed that because when shaders fail to compile, we should probably assert. I feel like we should assert because that's kind of a big problem. We should stop setting the mask matrix now. We don't have to do that. That gets done for us whenever we whenever we set it. Also, we don't have a mask. So first of all, it should work anyway. Let's see what the error is, and let's definitely assert on Quashy Quash. Am I missing a colon? Yeah, okay, that's fine. See this though, that's what I'm talking about. I want to fix up the logging a little bit. So one of the things I really want to do is set, so this is going to be a Sparky one. So OpenGL. I'm just going to fix the logging since I'm here. Sparky, that's a fatal. Sparky fatal. Trying to get rid of all STDC outs because they are not platform independent. Well, they are for desktop platforms, but not for Android, for example. Any more STDs? The OpenGL error. Okay, we need to wrap that. To do. The reason I say we need to wrap that is because we need to basically pass every OpenGL thing through a GL call macro, which will automatically do this for everyone. And then if there are OpenGL errors, it will actually tell you what line the error occurred at, because this is absolutely terrible. Like, it's just an absolute nightmare to actually debug. Okay, we've done that. The main thing I wanted to do though was the shader. So shader right now, I was going to do frame buffer stuff today, but we're not going to have time. That's all right. Shader, we'll do it next time. This is a fail to compile vertex shader. So this is kind of an error. I don't really feel it's fatal though, because sometimes, you know, you don't get a shader. That's fine. We'll call it error for now. And for now, we'll just assert it. Should probably fail to compile. Okay. Fragment. Okay, so now this should be a touch better. Oh, I also added this could not find uniform, by the way. Alright. Don't know why, but the assert... Oh, we got an unsupported type here. Great. I don't know why, but the assert didn't work. What? That's a bit weird. It seems to be on. Wait, hang on. Where's the message go? Ah, I see. Message goes after. That's why it succeeded, because that string was not null. You're not a real error. Okay. So, we've got our assert. I don't know why you're out of your cage. You can go away. So, that's fine. So, yeah, our actual error is on line 35 of the vertex shader. So, that's probably a missing semicolon, someone pointed out. Oh, shader factory. Okay, so, we can't actually see what line. That's great. What is it, 35? Damn it. This is why this is annoying for embedded shaders. But most people wouldn't actually be, doing this. Obviously, this is just for the internal engine stuff. That's why I'm doing it this way, but that's fine. So anyway, what we will do is we'll fix the error first of all. Where's the bloody error? I give up. $35. We don't have a line 35. Ugh. Oh, that's a fragment shader. Wait, is that vertex shader is longer than our fragment shader? Holy crap. 35. Yes, we are missing one there. Okay. Let's run that again. Cool. So this is no mask, obviously. So the mask is null. So if I go into... Oh, that's another thing we definitely should do. Renderable. Because that won't always be true. We set the texture to null pointer. We need to also set the mask to null pointer. Oh, that's for renderable. Oh, sorry. I meant renderer. And also masks for groups and whatnot might have to happen. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, so there's that. That's good. Mask is null pointer by default. Great. So that's good. That'll just ensure that this never that this will work. Is basically what I'm saying. And I think that, yeah. Okay, so that's fine. These are fine. I don't really care about those. That's just because we're trying to do mask texture and whatnot. We're just setting some uniforms here like that. Mask matrix, and we must be doing mask texture somewhere. Let's figure out where. If we go into shader, put a breakpoint right here. Run this beast. This is in release mode, so hopefully it won't skip our breakpoint. Yeah, of course it did. Debug mode. Okay, question. Can your mask do more than mask with a color, meaning maybe a sprite? Could see that being useful. Also, can you mask a batch of sprites? Yes, you can mask a batch of sprites. So a mask is a state, essentially. So you can turn the mask on, submit a bunch of sprites, turn a different mask on, submit a bunch of sprites, turn masks off, submit a bunch of sprites. You get the point. In terms of can it do more than mask with a color, I'm not sure what you mean. So masking with a sprite, I mean a sprite is a color. A sprite is just a texture anyway. So you can overlay, you can use any texture as a mask, and you can use color if you like. So you don't have to have it black and white, because all it does is multiply the colors together. So you can make your mask pink, and it will basically obviously increase the red and blue channel more than the green channel, thus creating a pink kind of tint. So you can use masks for tinting as well. It's almost like a post-process color correction effect right now. Well, to an extent, because you can't do stuff like contrast, for example, because you're linearly kind of doing everything, if you get the point. Let's see, call stack. So where are we doing this? We're doing this in here. So this mask texture needs to go away, and this needs to be 32, and this needs to be 31. So we're kind of undoing the stuff yesterday. See, I totally forgot about that. So thankfully I had the call stack stuff set up. So let's get rid of that breakpoint now. Ah, sorry, it's a good thing I had, yeah, I did that breakpoint thing. Okay, we get a crash here. Yeah, it's because mask is null. So this is also where this is important. I don't actually think we need mid, huh? Yeah, because what if that's null? Oh, okay, that will be 0. I see. Yes. So that's why we had to get ID, because that would return 0 if it was null. So just for a convenience function, we'll do the same in mask. I don't know how we got there, but we'll do the same in mask. Why not? So we'll just have an inline GL, we'll make it a uint, get TID, texture ID, which will just return. So if texture, wait, mask was null there, right? Hang on. Mask can't have a null texture. What's going on? So mask was null. So that's the problem. So that's, yeah, not what I meant. Where do we need this mid? Okay. So if mask, then that else 0. That's what I kind of meant. This will make more sense. And then I guess it will kind of roll over here as well. We could have done if mid greater than 0, kind of like what we did there as well. Okay, so this is no mask. Great, and I do need to fix that logging. Okay, let's turn on a mask. So sandbox, turn on that mask. This should be quite small, I imagine. We'll see. Okay, that just ruined everything. So now we have to put it into a mask. Remember, the default matrix is an identity matrix. Not sure what this will look like at all, by the way, so no clue. Okay, so the mask definitely worked. There it is. It's masked that part of it. You can see I can move my guy. He's incredibly slow, though. Okay, let's do a few things. Mask XY? We might leave that stuff. We'll change the speed to like 0.5 there. Okay, so you can see our guy will move. Here he is, he's moving. Mask area is incredibly small. But it is correct from what I can tell, okay, which is the important thing. So the cool thing here is, if this works properly, this is what we can do. So we can change the mask's transform. So what we can do is, and I might actually do this a bit differently. So we've got our mask. We've actually kind of got a mask here. So we'll make a mask, right? And we'll just set mask equal to new mask. We should be able to just change this on the fly. So if everything will work here, which it should, this is our, okay. So position, obviously these static things are just temporary. Yeah, so what we do here is just set mask transform equal to maths mat4 translate translation pause, for example, right? That's a bit boring though. Let's use a scale instead. So let's set scale to scale. Try that out. So that should update live. That shouldn't, like, we should just be able to play with that live. Okay, brilliant, it does. There's our mask being scaled up perfectly. It does seem to be getting cut off though. I guess it's being, that doesn't make any sense. We've got a quad behind, right? This is a bit odd. It looks like it's been cut off. What does our mask actually look like? Yeah, so yeah, it's not being cut off. It's just a square. So it's the same aspect ratio as us, but I would have expected it to be wide though, which is a bit weird. But there's our mask. So that's, yeah, that's a touch interesting. Let's stop rendering that background. I don't like that background. Okay, so there we go. There's our mask, but yeah, it seems to be in the aspect ratio of the sprite. Is that correct? Maybe that's correct. Take a look at this real quick. I guess that is correct. Wait. So right now, it's based on... One thing I should have brought up is this is different from if we just did this, because that is going to be probably very slow. Let's just switch to release mode and try that out, just for curiosity. It's probably one sprite though, so I don't think it'll matter. In fact, yeah, we won't do that now. We'll do some performance stuff later. But yeah, something's a bit weird here. So we're inverting the mask's transform. And transform just on identity. How are we supposed to be setting? That's, yeah. That is a bit interesting. Not sure. I'm not sure. Let's quickly replace this with the new method, which is just that. I think this is identical. It is. Except TID is... So TS. So there's no such thing as TID, it's just font.getID. There's no greater than 0. Okay. So this is even easier. Oops. Font get TID. Oh, sorry. Get texture. Oh, we probably can't even do that, can we? All we really need from there is a font, though, isn't it? Sorry, we don't actually use... Yeah, we don't. Okay, why are we writing this? This will, here's what's gonna happen. This will just return submit texture, well, texture.getID. It's going to be a new submit texture, which just takes in a texture ID. Which actually does the work. And now we can use both, which is important for this stuff. I think that's right. It's just font.getID, right? What does that return? A uint, right? I should have probably made this just a normal uint as well. Oh, we're still running. Okay, we're still getting an error. Which is a bit weird. What? Where's the font? Where does the font come from? Oh, it's right here. Oh, we don't need an arrow. Okay. Buildy build. Sorry about not seeing chat, guys. You know, stuff. I was programming. Let's just say that, huh? Okay. Let's. I'm not sure, man. I feel like this is right, but I'm also not sure. What if we draw the sprite a bit differently? So back in Sandbox, what if we, where do we make the sprite? Here it is, the width and height. What if we change the width to like 8. I mean, what's gonna happen here? Okay, so it's still it's still square. I don't know if that's right. I don't think that's right because I mean it's clearly the image isn't square. So lol is pretty much all I can say. Where's our mask? See, it's 1280 by 720. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. This is correct for sure. But yeah, that is just perfect. I'm not sure. Yeah, the mask's aspect ratio should not change. But for that to happen... Okay, this is a bit weird now. This is getting a bit weird. Because I'm not... Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that inverting every submit, but it's good because you can I guess you can just call set mask again, but we'll fix that later. Yeah, I'm not sure. Odd. Unless I'm just like lolling myself. But that's pretty impossible. Or is it? Okay. So we've got no transforms. Oh, hang on a minute. No. Hang on. Yeah, these are identical in scale. Which is good. 111. What if we don't? If we don't, yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah, so the problem is the mask is just square. And I feel it should be, well, you know, not square. I feel it should be 16:9 because that's what I made my mask. It's not square. But it is square here. So I also feel like that's logical though, because nowhere have I been like, yeah, this isn't uniform. Like, it's, as far as the texture corners are concerned, it is a 0 to 1 situation on both axes. So I'm actually not sure if that's right or not. I mean, I don't assume that I want that kind of behavior though. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that would be right because I guess that's what I was thinking, because it seems that that right now it just has no idea where it's at. Because right now all it has is the identity matrix and that's it. So yeah. But I'm not sure what a good way to set that would be anyway, since I'm literally just doing that. Okay, let's go back to our batch renderer real quick. Yeah, I think a good way to do this would be scale. So like, what we can do is the transform is kind of identity by default. We can say something along the lines of, I'm not sure how good this solution would be actually, but it will work. We can set this to be essentially just width divided by height of the texture, which will give us the aspect ratio. And then, why is that lolling me? Yeah, well, deal with it. So we can just do that. I really wish there was a proper thing for this though, because it's a bit annoying. A proper thing for, sorry, for this to just take in a vec3. So we can do that. I don't know why this is just lolling me though. I probably think it's the, yeah. Let's take a look at that. It's gonna reset the scale though. Yeah. Yeah, the other problem with this though is that if you change the scale or you reset the matrix in any way rather than appending to it, it'll be wrong. So that's why I was a bit not happy with that, but it will be right in terms of, so obviously if we reset the transform, it ruins everything. So that's why this is a bit meh. Did that even work? I mean, should have. Yeah. Still feels a bit shitty. Okay, so first off, what happened here? Oh, they're integers. There we go. That's fine now. So that's fixed. Okay, so yeah. Yeah. So yeah, the best option is probably going to be to just generate a matrix based on a few properties such as position, scale, and rotations, which will just be like a bunch of vec3s. Because then we can apply the matrix manually, we can apply the aspect ratio manually. So, that's probably the best scenario, because having a set transform is annoying, but also this stuff is too, and doing it every submit is annoying, so we will have to have a set, which is also annoying. All of this is really annoying. Yeah. I just don't know, man. I just don't know. Okay, well, we're gonna wrap it up there because I just don't know. Well, I do know. It's just I can't be bothered doing it now. And I need to, yeah, I want to go to bed early today. So, yeah. But anything else? I was gonna do like frame buffering, but nah, we'll do that next time. Yeah, everything else is pretty good. Let's get back here. Ha 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 ha. That's fantastic. I also know what I meant. Oh, that's bad as well. I meant this. That'll be good enough. Okay, so you can see it's now. Is it? No, because I'm an absolute twat. That's not gonna work either, because it, yeah. Is that even gonna work? Possibly. Whatever. Yeah. Best. We can move the sprite. We've created kind of a scary game here. It's like, oh my god, he's in. So we can also do some pretty cool stuff with color. That's the other thing I wanted to mention. So like, if we want to have a nice kind of area, I don't even know, like this is just obviously not the use for it, but it's just, it's fun to dream. And if we do like some kind of weirdness, some kind of weird source, I don't even know, man, thing, then and we scale this thing up, oh man, you can see when we move into here, the colors kind of get multiplied, so it's a bit weird, but yeah, totally works. So if we wanted to, we could literally just make this mask kind of tint everything a certain color, like blue, for example. Okay, wasn't going for that, but that'll work. So you can see how when we are in here, it tints stuff blue. So you can do some pretty crazy stuff with this, but ultimately it's under your control-ish, which is pretty cool. Alright, anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Next time we will probably, I don't know if I'll fix this masking stuff. Probably. It's not that difficult, it's just that I'm delaying it because I want to rewrite the entire system for these renderables. Not rewrite, just add stuff like rotation and whatnot, and then have it construct the matrices every time you actually need the new updated things, which will be a bit of architectural work because I still haven't decided exactly how I want to do that, and what a smart way to do that would be in terms of making it easy for game side to not suffer with this. So we'll have to have a think about that. But also frame buffering will be we'll actually do the frame buffer stuff as well, which will be very important and probably a little fun. But the other thing is, unfortunately, when we do the frame buffer stuff, we'll have to pretty much rewrite a bunch of stuff in batch renderer to like essentially render to the frame buffer rather than to the screen. So yeah. Cool. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. I don't know when I'll stream next. Probably not for a while. I probably won't have time for a while because I've got a lot of stuff to do because I'm leaving in about a week to fly off to a holiday in Germany. So I have to basically pack and get everything ready for that. So I'm not exactly sure when I'll stream next, but it will be soon-ish probably. Alright, cool. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good night. Any last minute questions? I'll spend like 1 more minute in the stream answering any questions you may ask. Just go for it. I bet by the time the stream delay catches up, it'll already have been a minute and I will leave. So good luck, but you know. Probably about 30 seconds left. Still no actual questions. Again, stream delay. I love that. I set Twitch to like the really low thing. I set the stream delay to like the lowest possible. Well, they've got this thing called like low delay streaming, and I've put that on, but you know, it's a bit weird. Was EA your first programming work? Yes, it was. In terms of like professionally, yes. Something else. I don't know if there's an option with interacting with the stream. There is, I think. Well, it's called like low something. I'll quickly check actually. Twitch. Where are you? Okay. Settings. Profile? No. Wait, where is it? I'm in my settings, right? Oh yeah, I am. Okay, so it's in like somewhere. Channel and videos, maybe. Yes. So reduce stream delay. I've got that checked. So if interaction with chat is a focus for your stream, we encourage you to try the reduced delay option. Viewers will see your reaction to their messages sooner. But some of them, especially those with poor connections, will be more likely to experience buffering. So hopefully you guys aren't buffering too badly. But yeah. Okay, cool. Anyway, I want to head off. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you when I stream next. So good night. Warm.